Shipping ruined Attack on Titan's ending. Now, before I even dive into Attack on Titan shipping alone, I think it's important to look at shipping in shonen anime period, which in all honesty has never been good, honestly. And I already know what you may be thinking that, well, it's shonen, like, it's not a shoujo which focuses on romance. And I totally agree with you. But the majority of shonen, especially like mainstream shonen, consists some form of romance. And so I want to make clear, I'm not even asking for the romance aspect of shonen to be good. I'm just asking for it to be decent and that it makes sense that the couples are who they are. And so some reasons that romance in shonen may not be that great is I feel like for a majority of shonen, they tend to leave the romance aspect solely to female characters. Like, obviously, a prime example of this would be Naruto female characters. They're notorious for being crappy, and I think the main reason of that is because their sole goal is to just marry a specific male character. For Sakura and Ino, it's Sasuke, and for Hinata, it's Naruto. And we see that in Attack on Titan with Eren and Mikasa. We have many instances we could point to where Mikasa vocally states that she wants to be with Eren and that she loves Eren and only wants to be with him. But we don't get that from Eren. Like in Naruto, we don't get that really from Sasuke or Naruto. Primarily the reason being that, well, they're thinking about other stuff. Like Naruto's main concern is becoming Hokage. Sasuke's main concern is killing Itachi. Eren's main concern is killing all the Titans and eventually going against Marley. And that's fine. The main issue here is that the females are solely there as romantic interests. They have no other goals. At the end of the day, I honestly cannot say what Mikasa also likes. Like, literally, that's all I can say is that she likes Eren. That's literally it, and that there is the issue. I believe another issue with romance and shonen is that you genuinely cannot tell, especially for the protagonist, if they have romantic feelings for the character, because they're usually nice or kind-hearted. And so, things that may look to us as romantic, no, that's just something they're doing because they're simply friendly. I think a prime example of this would be Naruto. Like, if any person just saw Naruto carrying any of the females he saved, someone would just think, oh, he must like her or have romantic feelings for her. And it's like, no, he doesn't. That's just Naruto. That's the type of person he is. And so it makes it difficult to tell if they're doing the things they're doing for romantic reasons or friendly reasons. And I think that's why it's like a huge issue. It's like, well, when did Naruto start seeing Hinata as a romantic partner and not Sakura? Because he does these things on a daily basis with females. And that's the same issue we get with Eren. The main issue with Eren is that we can't tell if he does the things with Mikasa because he sees her as one of his best friends and or his sister, or because he actually has romantic feelings for her. Plus, it looks like Eren honestly be having a better relationship with other female characters, primarily Historia, who he confides in, which, I mean, I'm sorry, that's a huge romantic move right there, which he never does with Mikasa in all honesty. Now, I do think there are shonens that do romance very well. A prime example being Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, primarily with the couple Al and Winry. I like how, one, you have flashbacks of them fighting over getting married. I believe it was a scene with Al and Ed fighting over who's going to marry Winry when they grow up. And even besides that, you have instances where both Al and Winry are asked, like, would you marry Ed or Winry? Or, like, oh, you guys would look cute together, and have them actually take the time out to think about how their life would be together. And the main thing I like with this relationship is that they highlight a main thing of Winry that isn't tied to getting married to Al, which is her love for Automel. That's pretty much the first thing we get, and that's all we see pretty much of Winry. So when you think of Winry, I wouldn't think, oh, Al's wife. I would think, no, Winry, the Automel technician. So I already know some of you may be thinking, well, okay, the shipping isn't there in Attack on Titan. What does that have to do with Attack on Titan as a whole? And so this is where I will get into the ending, so mega spoilers from this point on. The biggest issue here, especially with the shipping of Eren and Mikasa in the manga and eventually in the anime, is that it is central to the Attack on Titan plot, and that there is the issue. At the end of the day, if Naruto ended up with Hinata, Sakura, Ino, even Karin, at the end of the day, the story will still remain the same in that Naruto's goal was to become Hokage, and his other goal being to bring Sasuke back to the village. So everything would pretty much still be the same. Whereas that's not the case here in Attack on Titan's ending. For in the manga, we learned that it's not Eren that saves Ymir, but Mikasa that saves Ymir. The main reason being that they parallel one another. Now the truth of the matter is, I don't think it should have been Mikasa to parallel Ymir. I'm a firm believer that it should have been Historia. But I digress, and I will recommend this video if you want to learn more reasons on why I believe what I believe. But anywho, Mikasa is the parallel to Ymir. And pretty much the only reason she is the parallel to Ymir is because, like Ymir, she has unrequited love, and that for both of them, the men they love do not love them back. But lo and behold, chapters later we find out Eren actually does love Mikasa. Now, my main issue here is that, one, in this scene, Eren is very much out of character. This is unlike Eren, and I'm not even including season 4 Eren. And looking closer at what he says about Mikasa, it sounds more like he doesn't want her to love someone else, and less so about him actually loving her. It just sounds possessive to me, oh, I don't want her to be with nobody else. And at the end of the day, looking back at the other scenes, it just sounds like he wished things to go back to the way they were before they discovered what they discovered in the basement. And I feel like this is solidified from the cabin scene. I know it's being debated whether it's just Mikasa's dream or if it's an alternate reality Eren made for Mikasa. For this video, I'm gonna go for the latter. And in this dream, for one, Eren just did not want to deal with having to choose between genocide and pretty much making Historia a human livestock, which is understandable, so they ran off. And honestly, from this scene, I more so get the feeling it was pity love as opposed to Eren actually loving Mikasa. He did this for Mikasa because he knew this is what she wanted and not exactly what he wanted. And so all in all, my main issue with Eren's confession is that it's never hinted at him ever seeing Mikasa as more than just a friend or sibling, when there were many times they could have done this. But apparently, in one interview Asayama, the creator of Attack on Titan, did, he noted how he always made sure to make Mikasa prettier when he was doing scenes through the view of Eren's perspective or point of view. But in the anime, I genuinely don't see it, and I honestly doubt anyone else seen it, not unless they're super particular about the animation. So I would definitely be curious if there even is a change in the anime when it comes to this. And I think the issue of this is for two reasons. One being that Mikasa is already pretty. She's already beautiful. So then to ask me to see if she's even more beautiful, it's I can't tell. She was already pretty to begin with. The other issue with this is that we only get this scene from Eren's perspective. So they didn't give us a scene of how it actually looked for me to compare and contrast these two scenes. I believe a good example of how they could have did this is from Spy Family. Now, mind you, I have yet to watch Spy Family, but it's so apparent in the anime community that I know what's happening and know the characters, though I may still butcher it, so please be patient with me. But anywho, in this fun meme, you get the perspective of Damien, but then the left side you see how the scenes actually went down. Not only is her facial expressions different primarily in her eyes, but you have instances where her eyes are literally glowing basically from Damien's perspective. Plus you can see how the people and things in the background are more blurry through Damien's perspective. So we can clearly see that, oh, this is how Damien views Anya. And it's easy for any viewer to see, even if this is your first time even watching an anime. Now, the other major issue is what we get at the end. So Mikasa keeps the scarf on her own accord, but we get various scenes where Eren tells her I want you to get rid of that scarf so she can move on. But we then get an end scene where a bird pretty much helps Mikasa adjust her scarf. Now, I'm not here to argue whether or not the bird is Eren, but is apparent though is that Mikasa believes this bird to be Eren, which is an issue because this goes against what Eren wanted from Mikasa, which was for her to move on. I'm sorry, but that is not love. It's when you see those crazy questions and like the partner would ask them, hey, will you still love me if I was like turned into a worm? And the partner says no, because it's like, come on, you're a worm. Yet they get mad over it. Like, I'm sorry, but that's not a healthy relationship. You should want your partner to move on if you're unable to be with them, rather than have them literally live in regret or in sadness for literally the rest of their lives because of your death or your transformation into a worm. So even though Attack on Titan shipping is clearly not the best, and that was just focusing on one couple, the issue is that it is central to the Attack on Titan plot. The only thing that made Mikasa the parallel to Ymir was that, like Ymir, her love was unrequited. Eren did not love her back like the Eldian King didn't love Ymir back. But then we see that Eren loves Mikasa. So then sadly, the message can be that, oh, the Eldian King actually did love Ymir, but he couldn't because like she advanced his kingdom. And so he had to push his feelings aside. And I'm pretty positive that's not the message Asayama wanted to preach. And I'm pretty positive no one would be a fan of that anyway. And I'm pretty positive Asayama is basically claiming that Eren felt this way about Mikasa the entire time, which I'm sorry, I call bull to that. Because there's just no way Eren liked Mikasa in that way for that long. Now I could buy that Eren held his like emotions or true feelings away in season 4, but there's no excuse for Eren in seasons 1 to 3, primarily because Eren's character in those seasons was not the type to hide his emotions away. He's not a Sasuke where for Sasuke he never showed his feelings, so we had to like read deeper into his actions. Whereas that's not the case with Eren. When he's happy, we see it. When he's sad, we see it. When he's angry, we see it. At the end of the day, there is no excuse on why Eren and Mikasa, primarily Eren's feelings for Mikasa, could not have gradually built up through these seasons. And secondly, the other issue is that by having Eren confess his love to Mikasa, it literally destroys her in being the parallel to Ymir. It either changes the story drastically, which I doubt Asayama wanted, or it basically destroys the entire plot. Like, even if you didn't even care about the romance in Attack on Titan, especially the romance between Eren and Mikasa, this plot makes you have to care. It's not even that you want to care. You have to care because it's that much central to the plot. For this ship is the literal reason on how the rumbling ends and also how the Titan curse is also lifted. So if we learn one thing from Attack on Titan is that shipping and plot should not be mixed together. For if one is bad, it's just going to ruin the other. Even if Attack on Titan's plot was good, the shipping wasn't, and so forth, it calls for a crappy ending. I believe there's two aspects to Attack on Titan ending. The first one being the shipping between Eren and Mikasa, and the second being pretty much the aftermath of the rumbling. Obviously, this video covered the first aspect, but I will do a separate video covering the second aspect. Thank you for checking out this video, and have a great day, week, month, year, decade. Bye!